I have a great answer to that question. Tips, I talk to students all the time. I have another class I'm going to teach next weekend in Alabama. And I love interacting with people who are just starting out or people who are students in this. Because when I was starting out, I didn't have anything like that. I didn't have anybody there to help me. So it feels so good to be the one that gets to go, actually, I can tell you some useful things, perhaps. I came up with this idea about 15 years ago when I had to give a keynote speech at a college. And they wanted me to talk to these actors who were graduating and give them something that maybe they hadn't heard before. So, I tried to dream up some concept. And I came up with something that all these years later, it still rings true. I mean, I'm an editor at heart more than anything else. That's really who I truly am. And so I'm always trying to improve, and yet I don't really change these elements I came up with. And they're the 3 courageous C's of acting. And meaning, as an actor, you're a performing artist. You use your body, so it could be you're a dancer, you're a singer, because really, if you're a dancer, you better be an actor, too, if you want us to watch you. That's just my little editorial there. So the 3 courageous C's, meaning courage is one of them. Courage is the first that's not included in the other 3. That's a given. I mean, you have courage, you stayed alive because everybody goes through hell. And you're here right now, and you have shown your courage by showing up. Courage is about showing up. And then commitment, so then there's 3 after that. Commitment is when I see the word commitment, and I see it in my head, I see an arc that goes like this. Here's the beginning of your life when you're born, and here's the end of your life. And that's what you're in it for. You're in it for your life. This is not something to dabble. I don't give bad news. I only give good news. Because you'll find out the bad news on your own. I don't need to tell you about it. But I can tell you that if you stay, if you're going to do this, you're only doing yourself and everybody else a disservice by thinking of it as something to dabble in. And really, you go for something that you can really go into. If you want to be an architect, do that. If you want to be a mom, I can't think of a more creative job than being a parent, and it takes 100% of your everything. So the commitment, you just think of that, see that arc, and you'll go, everybody goes through hard times, just like the stock market, and you have to keep going, you can't give up. And then there's craft, which is what we're doing on the stage. It's what you practice. And you should practice every day. And it's like sanding down a table with a piece of sandpaper. You can't really go too far. You just want to keep doing it until it's really smooth. And craft is about, it's a word that's overused and it's kind of cliche, maybe seen as trite to some people, the word craft. But it is simple as, understanding that everything that you see was somebody's idea once. And people, not here, but in our country, they like to diminish art, and yet, if anybody ever took it away, people would be lost without it, because every single thing you see that's a shape is art. Somebody designed that chair. Somebody designed this building. They designed the mechanism. This is a design that makes this microphone, and the sound is an art. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So the next time your parents tell you that there's no future in the arts, just go like this. Dad, I got it figured out. Don't worry. So that's craft, right? Craft is if you think you're a drummer, that's great, but then play some other instruments. And learn another language and constantly learn and constantly expand the crafts that you have to practice, because you have to practice something every day so you can always get better. And then the last C is community, and that's what we have right here. Right now, we're this community. We're on stage now and you're in the audience, but someday I'll be in the audience and you'll be on stage. So it's, in other words, this is our family. I think a lot of people go into the theater, I know I did, because their family is in some way absent. and you're looking for a family, and you end up in a group of misfits, which is great, because that's who you are, and then we all decide to play together, and everybody comes and watches, and now that's a community, so you need to support your community, and you need to invest in public television if you can spare $25 a week or a month, and you need to teach for free sometimes if you can, and go to as many shows as you can, and pick up litter off the street, because you're proud of your town. And this is, by the way, such a beautiful town. I love Buenos Aires.